Today we're having banana split waffles, and it's not exactly how I would make them, but we didn't have all the ingredients. So if you look here, what often splits if you're putting banana in waffle, because banana's sticky and it's moist, is the waffle itself. But you can just carefully pry it up from the with a fork and the edge, and then flip it over, and it's actually nice that way. And you can use that to your advantage. You might not want to toss that waffle to the dogs, because you could set it up on the plate like this, like a little shell to hold the other stuff, and then you could put a little nest of strawberries, and then a nest of pineapple, and a nest of, say, chocolate shavings, and then put a dollop of coconut cream in each one, and that'd be pretty fancy little banana split. So it's not a bad thing if the waffle splits in this case. But you might want to make either pancakes instead if you want to put the banana inside. But the thing is I wouldn't have put the banana inside the waffle. But we got these beautiful strawberries given to us from the Salvation Army.
The whole flat of them?
Yeah, and we got a bunch of bananas given to us, and well, so
a whole bunch of them, eh? Was it a bunch of bananas?
Yeah. And out of I don't normally eat bananas. I used to eat them a ton. I used to eat at least 2 bananas a day, because I'd put them in my smoothies. Every morning before I'd go to work, I'd put a block of dessert tofu in the blender with some with a banana and some soy milk, and that was that. I'd go off to work, and that would keep me.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had much problem, I suppose, with muscle spasms or anything like that. You would have been oh, you did still?
Yeah. I figured it must be that I had too much
potassium. Sometimes I think that can happen.
I don't know. Because I started to get serious Charlie horses. I'd just wake up and it'd be terrible.
Okay.
So then I
cut back
on the bananas.
That was smart.
But anyway, what was I going to say about this? Oh,
2 bananas.
Yeah, the bananas. They were given to us. And so we're eating 4 bananas today in James's 2 waffles, one which held together, one which I had to do the fold thing, and mine held together, which is surprising. I didn't expect any of them to hold together, but I thought I'd try it out. Because I know that from experience, putting bananas inside waffles doesn't usually work. But too sticky, too moist. But anyway, so I did that today, and it was because the bananas were given to us, they were too mushy. So out of the 4 bananas, really only one of them I could slice up and do anything fancy with. The others I just had to kind of chop up a little bit, mush up with a fork, and stick it in the mix. So that's what happened.
Bananas on the edge, eh?
Yeah.
But ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and they're not that much fun to eat just regularly.
Yeah. Anyway, but this should be good. I didn't have any chocolate and I didn't have any pineapples, so.
What the heck? This is awesome.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Now today I'm reviewing this book, which is The One Kingdom, book 1 of the Swans War, and it's by Sean Russell, and it was excellent. I really enjoyed it. There's not a whole lot of action in it. There's a lot of story, and
what do you mean by action? Is fighting?
Yeah, I was not expecting that from something set in, medieval sort of
fantasy
castle
world,
kings, and whatever.
Is it a fantasy thing or is it more historical?
No,
okay,
not
I
at
just
all.
wanted to make that clear.
My tree lost an apple. Anyway,
It's got a
it's really
fantasy type of cover.
descriptive. Like it starts out and at the beginning when I first started reading it, I thought, oh, it's going to be dreadful. And then now looking back on it, I'm like, wow, what a great beginning. You know, and I don't know how. But I'm thinking about, you know, how the grass was moving. I could try to find it for you at the beginning. It was very descriptive about their faces through the grass or whatever, and it was telling me what time of year it was, because it was in, I think the oats were in seed, but they were still green, right? So I don't know where it was. It's somewhere at the beginning, whatever. And so that's what I like. I like it when I'm reading a story and they can give me an idea of what the environment is like, because you can grow oats there, right? And what time of year it is. Well, it's in seed, but they're still green. I know exactly what's going on, right like that. And I really like it when people do the research into things like that when they're writing a book, rather than saying it was August, whatever, or you know what I mean, and we're in this whatever, it's describing the environment in some, you know,
cartoonish way.
Yeah, that gave me all the information I needed about where they were really and when they were in, you know, in not in years, like, but time of year. Anyway, great. So thank you, Sean Russell. And I will definitely look into reading the rest of the books. After reading this one, it was good. Now, I didn't like the ending, but I don't know that, like, it didn't seem to really be, it didn't wrap anything up. It didn't really leave me going, oh, but what will happen next, or anything like that, right? So, but at the same time, I already know that I want to read the next book, so I don't know that it needed to do either of those things.
Dude comes from British Columbia, eh?
Oh. Maybe I should point it out when we're reviewing a
fantasist or something like that.
Canadian author.
Mm-hmm.
That was really surprising. I didn't expect to. I mean, I'm going through the books in my basement that I didn't bother to read.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm getting to this point in, like, I've been going through this all, most of the winter and all summer. I've been reviewing these fiction things that, I'm like,
they were dumped from the Lethbridge Library.
Yeah. But,
no, this is stuff that, some of it's maybe worth dumping, right? Like, you dumped a lot of stuff at
yeah, I filled the
one
little
of those
library.
little giveaway that's provided in the neighborhood by a very nice person.
Yes.
Can we mention his first name or something like that? It's up to you. Anyway, very nice person. Pauline's known him for a long time.
But anyway, I went back to the little library, and a lot of my books were gone, and I was like, wow.
See? You were doing everyone a favor. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You saved them from getting junked by the library.
And I was thinking what I should have done is stapled seed packages in all of the books before I tossed them in there.
Yeah, because I'm afraid if someone hadn't picked them up from the library, they just would have.
They would have went in the dumpster because
we've seen stuff.
We actually got things out of the dumpster, which I know it's illegal to take them out of. To take things out of dumpsters.
No, it should have been illegal to put.
It should have been illegal to put the books for the library to put their books in the dumpster. Honestly, that's public funds.
Yeah,
that's public property.
And they were doing that because Pauline had raised not a fuss really, it was just an issue about them
chucking out all their books.
Well, giving them away.
Yeah.
So they're going, well, how do we handle it?
Yep.
There used to be a motivational poster at the city of Lethbridge. It was one of the Far Side things or something like that.
Well, it would have been not just me. It would have been lots of people raising a fuss.
Well, I'm sure. But anyway.
Politely, I did it in the... I wrote comments.
Yeah, that's it. You didn't raise a fuss. And there was this motivational poster on the wall. Big one. For every problem, there's a solution. And right away I thought, oh, when you get the bureaucracy involved, for every solution, there's a problem. If you're lucky, it's only one. Mm-hmm. And here that was their solution to the problem. The problem was them, really. It was just to dump the stuff as surreptitiously as possible. Awful.
And they're like, well, one of the things that Plato woman or whatever.
Well, we'll call her the Flat Earther, because that's what her name means.
Losing another apple. I'm going to have to start harvesting.
In Latin and Greek. So you can figure out what her name is. The Flat Earth. Earth's flat. I'll let you figure out which it is.
Anyway, she said something one day. Well, if we didn't get rid of the books, we wouldn't be able to buy any more. And I was thinking, well, don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, if there's no reason to get rid of a lot of books like this one. This was a good book, and there was no problems with it. Like, nobody had stuck the pages together with snot, or...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or used it as a dinner tray.
Yeah.
See when it was published. It looks as though it's might be a generation older or something like that, but it's probably less.
I mean, I'm not
it's
saying
20 years old, so it's less than a generation. You know, like some books are like forever.
Yeah. I'm not saying that people shouldn't write books. That's fine. But it's... Why not read stuff that was published 50 years ago, or 100 years ago, or whatever?
Or 1,000 years ago.
Why not? You know, why are people, oh, I gotta save room in my bookshelf for all the new releases? Why? Why? Never buy a new release. I used to do that. How ridiculous. You end up paying loads of money for hardcovers. You can't get rid of them at the end, because if you go to a secondhand bookstore, they don't even want them.
No one wants novels. I mean, yeah, they will take paperbacks, because those things jump off their shelves. But that's the amazing thing about people who are into the testimony of literature. You know, like, people don't care about fiction. Fiction doesn't really matter. It's entertainment.
Even if it's great. Like, let's say when this book came out, or the second one, I was like, oh, I need to read the second one. Why not to read the second one a year from then, when I can go get it from a secondhand bookstore or whatever? Why not? You know, it doesn't really matter when you read it. Or when it finally comes in at the library. Put it on hold and, oh, you're waiting. There's 40 holds ahead of you. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You don't need to save room on your shelf for new releases. Whatever. Just wait until it's an old release.
Yeah. Read some Marcel Proust or something like that, for Pete's sake. I mean, it basically doesn't go out of style. Read some James Joyce.
Yeah, I mean, you're saving yourself potential agony if you wait, because you're going to see, or whatever, a lot of reviews, people going, oh yeah, that book was junk, boy, I wish I hadn't bought that, whatever. And you can learn from their what they did, right? Like, don't get the book, whatever. There's so much out there to read. People keep publishing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the kind of mindset that they've got at the library over there now. I'm saying every library, we've got some good things from some of the satellite libraries or whatever out in the countryside. Clare's Home, Hayes, Milo, I think. I don't know how big or small Milo is, but
their library must be the size of a closet.
But they've got some good stuff. Stuff that the Lethbridge Library doesn't have it. They got to bring it in because Pauline's ordered it.
So honestly, if you're going to donate...
Hayes, I can't believe it.
If you're going to donate books to a library, figure out whether they put the stuff on the shelves or if they just put it on a book sale.
Yeah, do not contribute your stuff to this library. At least watch whatever library. Watch what their philosophy is or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to be cutting edge or stuff like that. Or
public enterprise in general. I used to think, oh, people should donate to museums or whatever.
Or
you want your stuff getting thrown out?
Yeah, and they'll throw it out. This has been the mindset of museums. I worked at the museum here in Lethbridge for 10 years. And what happened is the guy who... the city had just taken it over. My brother preceded me as the janitor there. And so I started there in 74. I think my brother started there in 73. I lived there roughly a year. Maybe a little less. Maybe a little more. And he must have done a good job because I had it. It was the only interview I think I ever had in my whole life for a job. But it was... I kind of got the impression maybe I was the only person that applied or something. I can't remember how it was. But I got the job. You know, I guess I'd had a lot of work experience, but not much of it for me. I was only 20. But, and boy, was that was pretty lousy work for the first time. I was a typical city worker, really. It's embarrassing, but a person has to be honest with themselves and with other people about it. I ended up, I think, being quite good with it. So the city had taken it over, I believe, in 73, and they brought in this big brute of a guy. Background in the Canadian Army. He was by no means stupid. He had an MA. And at that point in time, I don't know if too many administrators even had much. They had many BAs. I don't know if they had many BAs, I should say, as administrators. And the first thing he did was just starting to junk things at the Historical Society, as it was called. Kind of like a volunteer thing that collected.
Well, yeah, you go to little town museums and stuff, and you can often find more interesting things. Like one thing that I found interesting, where was that museum we went to?
Well, we've been to one in Grand Prairie.
Yeah.
But this is another one, right?
Mason jar collection.
Was that the Grand Prairie one then?
Yeah.
That's, I think, the only one that we've been to.
And no, we've been to a little museum where there was a card collection.
Okay, can you kind of give me a rough idea?
I don't remember where it was.
Was it in Alberta? That's narrow it down.
Maybe Manitoba.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
I thought we basically just hit the countryside.
Somebody had donated their card collection. It was somebody who liked giving out cards with their family members, right? Yeah. And so they saved all of the cards. And there were thousands of them, and it was really nice to go through because they had like some loving sentiment or something was sometimes written in there, or whatever. It was sweet, right?
Well, we went to a kind of like a reconstruction museum in Moose Jaw.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, there was that
was
one,
that
too.
the, but that's a different one, right?
Well, I think
It
so.
it has this ship that was built. I think it was a Finnish fella who'd come over here, and he I think this is supposed to go in the sea or something. It was a pretty big ship. Built it in, I guess, it was Moose Jaw area. Well, it's a long way away from the sea. Wow. Okay. Anyway, it's a it is a selling feature. I think they charge money, but a drawing feature if they don't. For that Moose Jaw, a lot of places have these little reconstructed, kind of like villages or something like that, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I
Or
love that. When I was
farmsteads
little,
or whatever.
it was
Yeah,
thrilling.
kids like it. The first major one I went to was actually Heritage Park in Calgary. I think it's still there. It probably doesn't need much advertisement, but I'd rather take my kids, if I had some, to Heritage Park than what do they call that one in
Yeah, Callaway.
Callaway Park? I mean, what a waste of time, and it would be huge cost and money. Heritage Park probably costs a fortune, but it would be hard to maintain. It's probably no bigger. It was they had maybe they moved some more stuff on. They had a huge grant of land, as I recall. But this one in Moose Jaw, my uncle, he had so much energy. Uncle Kenny, he's a wonderful guy. You know, into baseball, and then he later did baseball umpiring. He was a high school principal or something like that. Else did he do? Yeah, Highland dancing, celebrating the Scottish heritage and on my mom's side of the family. And, he did lots of things. Sometimes my dad would compare me to my aunt as his sister on his side. And I'm going, no, that's wrong. I was like Uncle Kenny on my mom's side in lots of ways. In other ways, that'd be different, but he was a good guy. Anyway, he was helping out with that place in Moose Jaw, the reconstructed village. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know
what. That must
what.
have been very nice for you to go there. Then,
See, that's
just to
another
think
thing
of
that he did.
Right?
Well, we were going there. I didn't realize. I think he was out there or something like that. I didn't realize that he was involved with it. It was just another thing that he was involved in. There were probably tons of things that he was involved in that I never knew about. You don't know maybe enough about your relatives, especially on my mom's side. There were 10 kids all told. One didn't make it into adulthood. He died in World War II, right at the end, poor fellow. He would have been awfully young. He was my mom's oldest sibling. But anyway, I kind of liked those when I was a kid. Heritage Park was awesome. But when you get grown up, maybe a little less appeal. I like ones that have a lot of reading, like captions. I don't think you care that much for that sort of stuff. But we don't go to museums that much. But I like nature, but I also like culture, like history and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter to me. I can spend the rest of my time, and hopefully it's many, many years. I have some flight of some birds going over. Just walking out in nature. There's a whole bunch of nature in this world. There's less and less every year, but
we were hearing about the bears, how they're hungry, right? There's not as many berries
we
this
were
year,
anticipating, and we were saying, pitied the poor animals.
when you go out hiking and you see there's not as many berries developing, you're like, oh geez, there's going to be some trouble.
Yeah, when the farmers are saying, some of them I think were being a little more honest than others. We're saying they'd have maybe 50% of yield. No, I heard some saying recently 25%, and I'm going, well, that would be more like what I would have expected. But the 50% was higher than what I expected.
Yeah.
I suppose it depends on where they're at and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard for the animals out there, so I'm kind of feeling for them. Feeling is the wrong word, because if you're eating a huge whack of food, it's hard to feel exactly what they feel.
Yeah. But they were on the radio, they were telling people, I think in Camo or something like that.
Don't feed, is that where you're going?
Yeah, they were saying don't feed the bears, make sure your fruit trees are picked clean so that they're not drawn in to eat your fruit and this and that, because, you don't want bears getting into the habit of coming into town for lunch,
well,
right?
it would mean their death, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so big and so much trouble. But the basic philosophy is with wild animals is don't feed them.
Yeah, I know, but I don't feel that way.
Well, I don't feel that way either, but
if
bears...
If you're going to harvest, people should be going out and harvesting the fruit trees in the city and taking it out to the wild and just...
Well, there's all
maybe
sorts
dumping
of...
it along the ditch.
They would eat crab apples, wouldn't
near
they?
Yeah,
of
they
course.
would
And
totally
there's crab apples. They're
all over.
They're coming out red in the city. So you've got a point there.
I mean, a lot of people, they won't even eat that stuff, but the bears would love it.
Oh, no one eats crab apples.
They're going to have a hard time this winter if they don't get the berries.
People don't want crab apples. They tell the city, we know, or I know, because I worked on that crew.
Yeah,
people
say,
get rid of our city crab apples. So we'd have to go and cut it down.
Cut all the trees down along the boulevard because people don't want them there.
Or we wouldn't cut them down, but we do the stumping after they've been cut down. Yeah. So, if you don't like crab apples, if you don't like the muck down on the ground, especially when the snow comes, don't buy a house with crab apples in front of it.
Yeah.
But, hey, city, come and take this stuff away.
I mean, yeah.
There's plenty of places that don't have crab apples.
Don't have them. So if you don't want them, then, position yourself accordingly. I mean, the trees are, if they're 40 years old or whatever, they've been there a long time, and they should have the right to continue to be there, really, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I kind of like crab apples. They're not like big pit bulls or something like that. They're not going to get, once they reach a mature size, they're not going to get any bigger. They're not going to, like people do, I mean, when they're on the boulevard, they're not going to need much pruning, I don't think, or whatever.
If you don't like the fruit, you could put an ad on Kijiji and say there's crab apple at such and such an address.
Yeah.
Come pick her clean, and people will.
Yeah. They can crab apples aren't fun to eat unless you're a kid, right? And you go, well, yeah, that's good. No,
you can make crab apple
you
jelly.
can make preserves.
You can make cider out of it.
Oh, you can?
Easily. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
You can make. I mean, if you want to, I've made wine out of them, and
see, there you go, crab apple wine.
The best, but it's okay. I mean, it's better than rhubarb wine.
It's something, maybe not as good as strawberry wine. That was an old band song right off of the third album. But it might be something that the band back in the day when they were still alive could be drinking.